What's good? It's Suli Breaks here, and I'm here with Tobi, King Bakare, and Christopher Mbaki, and we're going to discuss Tobi's debut play, Before I Go, with these two talented individuals, both playwrights and actors. How you guys living, man?
Good, man. Good.
Yeah?
We're midway through rehearsals, so yeah. Topping it.
Yeah?
Yeah, life's all right. Life's kind of good.
For anyone who's kind of not familiar with the nature of how theatre works or how you're interpreting this specific piece, can you explain your role versus Chris's role and how the two kind of interlink?
Yeah, so Before I Go is a one-man show, so it's just one person on stage. So Chris's involvement is almost like an alternate. So on some nights, I'm going to be performing, some nights Chris is going to be performing. But yeah, Chris's version of the show is different to my version of the show.
100.
And there's going to be different things that you're going to take from the different versions.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically it.
Whose is better though? Are you not clocking like audience reaction though? You see, are you sitting in the back thinking like?
Nah, it would be like something like, I would do, like Tobi would do something, I was like, yeah, let me add that to my text. I'll be like, yeah, I like that, innit? That's it's nice because I've seen the show and now I'm in a room with Tobi doing it. It's like, I think we feed off each other, one thing I'm starting to realise. And the energies, it transfers. And it's really interesting and is nice. And plus we have Philip in the room as our director. So it's a nice space for us just to learn off each other, come up with new ideas and elevate the play, to be honest.
Is Philip there,
Yeah.
Big up Philip off camera, man, just doing his thing. So it's interesting because the words, you know, the character Ajani, that's your character in it, and he represents so many different things which Chris is going to embody. But where does he come from, you know, and the subject matter and kind of like his whole stance of where he is in life at the beginning of the play?
I always imagined Ajani as a character is someone who's very recognisable. I thought it's your young boy from a working class environment around the ages of, 21, mid-20s, early 20s. Basically just living life, vibing. You know, he likes parties, he likes to go out, he likes girls, he likes the typical things a young man likes. But the thing especially about Ajani is Ajani can't talk about his feelings. He can't talk about his emotions. And in the play, we see Ajani basically learn how to do that. So in the beginning, Ajani just needs to be basically Mandem.
Yeah.
Just literally any type of typical boy you see on the street. There's other little, like small minute details that we add to Ajani, but on a broad stroke, he's literally just Mandem. He's just that guy.
Yeah, I feel I definitely resonate with it. I mean, at the start, like you said, he's turning up for the barbecue and everybody's excited. And like, there's that hint with, I think, Nicole, where he's like, he's unable to address that. But we obviously, like, we just interpreted it. That's how man act, like, you know what I mean? They're sour about their ex, all that kind of stuff. But as you go in, there's a deeper layer to it.
Yeah.
What made you want to, like, confront that deeper layer on this, you know, like the word masculinity? I kind of like hate using it because it feels like so intimidating. Whenever someone says, let's talk about masculinity, I feel like I'm gonna break down emotionally, and I need, like, what does it mean to you guys? You know what I mean? Like, what made you want to delve into that?
Yeah, I think for me, I remember growing up, and when I was growing up, around younger than Ajani, to be fair, but I remember not feeling like I could do certain things or not feeling like it was okay for me to talk about certain things. And basically, I wanted to show a character who feels the exact same way, which I've now realised is very relatable to a lot of young black males, but also young males in general, and show a character that does that. I think to answer your question, repeat your question, sorry.
The question was kind of double-ended. I was like, what did you want to delve into? But also I talked about like masculinity, you know what I mean? And how does that concept like appear to you, you know? What made you want to touch on it, I think?
Yeah, I feel like we just don't talk about it enough.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very, like, I think nowadays it's kind of a buzzword. Like, you see shows that talk masculinity and stuff too. But I think we don't actually go deep. And we don't see, I think seeing a really common story and seeing a story that's really relatable, but then go deep and then to realise that at the root of it is issues to do with masculinity. I think that was really interesting for me. To show what you would see as a surface image of a boy who's just having a good time, drinking when he's a bit annoyed. But when you go deep, when it goes a bit more conceptual, you realise that it's because of some societal sort of problems and inherited sort of things that have been just passed on from generations.
Yeah. that being said, like you, Chris as well, how much of yourself do you see in the character then when you first saw the script and you read Ajani, you know, like, because I could relate being that age and having those elements. How much of yourself do you see in the character?
I see a lot of myself in it. Growing up, you kind of, where do I start? I'll start with the Nicole situation. Like everyone's been through like their own like fair shares of like first loves, things going wrong, and that kind of like awkwardness of wanting to have like clarity and just being able to kind of articulate how you feel and not being able to do that. And also like with like growing up in an African household, you kind of, you're not really there, you don't really have the tools to express yourself in the ways you do until you kind of get older and like you and your parents meet in the middle. But before that, or even if that doesn't happen for a lot of people, it's like, I want to say this to you, but I don't know how, without you not just shutting down and just saying X, Y, Z. So in terms of that, there is a lot of Ajani that I see in myself, especially in some of like the quirkiness, let's do this, the unpredictability of Ajani, I'd say.
So it's interesting because when you take a character like Ajani, you're saying we don't get to open up when we're growing up in it. He literally dies, you know what I mean? The thing explodes and not too many spoilers, but yeah, he literally dies, you know, for him to get to that point. When did you guys kind of get to that point? And then also for you to be able to write about it, when did you get to that point to realize like...
I would say, you know what, I was talking to my friend about this recently and he was saying he clearly saw the switch in me when I started to think more big about these ideas. Because he said to me that you couldn't have written this play in college. And I was like, what? Of course I could have written it in college, bro. Like, it's just always in my head. But he's right. And I feel like there was a switching point, I think, of growing up and certain things happening to me in my life where I've had to really sit back and reflect. And luckily I went to a Saturday school where they would promote a lot of mindfulness, a school called Raw.
Where'd you go Saturday school? Were you in trouble? Or,
no, it was it was a drama school. It was a
drama school. Okay, yeah.
So that was only where I learned to act. That was where I went from when I was 15, 16. And in the school, they promoted mindfulness and reflection. And I think just being in an orbit where that was just normal and having to do that every Saturday, I feel like slowly over the years, it became part of me. So I always felt like I was like this, but I wasn't, obviously, because in college...
Because, someone looked from the outside looking in.
So I think, it was around that time, maybe around when I was like 17, 18, things happened in my life that were big, and I was able to reflect on them. And then I was like, like a lot of these things that I want to talk about, I never did. But I was then. And I was like, why not talk about this when I was growing up? But it actually affected me.
Who taught you at the drama school?
Yes, so it was a tutor called Robbie Stevens. Robbie Stevens.
Black guy, white guy?
No, white woman. Australian woman.
Australian.
And she was like crazy in the best ways. Gonna watch this. Yeah, but she was but she was actually insane, but in the best ways. I think she changed my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Had she seen the play?
Yeah.
Really? What did she say when you saw it?
Oh, she loved it. It was actually a really nice moment. There's a picture of her and my mum, and she was like, she was like, both of them were like.
That's dope. That's dope, man.
Lovely. Yeah.
What about you, Chris? Like, what point in your life did you get to where you felt like you wasn't communicating or you wasn't expressing yourself? You know what I mean? What point?
For me, growing up, being like the second youngest, it was always like hard.
Second youngest out of how many?
Trying to think.
Nigerian family starts
I'm
counting.
Congolese.
Congolese.
I think 5. Yeah, it should be 5.
Oh, that's not bad still.
Yeah, but it's a loud house.
Yeah.
And a loud house, you kind of get lost if you can't find your voice in it. So naturally, growing up, it's hard to find your voice. So when was I able to? I think similar to Tobi, like situations kind of happen that kind of shape you. And for me, it happened at like 18, 19. And that's when I was stuck between myself. I was like, I have all these thoughts, I have all these emotions. And it's just like rage. And I don't know how to speak to anyone. I don't know how to, because it feels like you're here by yourself, innit? Outside of the mandem, there's no one to talk to.
Yeah.
But then similar to Tobi, I joined the drama group as well called Intermission. And there, they kind of work with working class kids, XYZ, with the arts. And it was nice because I was in a room led by elder figures similar to me who have grown up in the same area as me.
Where you grew up?
Hackney.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I've grown up in the same area as me, teaching what I want to do. And through that, I was able to express myself. Like, say, when I'm thinking, damn, bro, I'm just mad right now, X, Y, Z, and I can't articulate why. And going through that has kind of helped to build my feelings and my ways to express myself the best way I can in it. And that's through like arts. I think acting has helped a lot in being able, especially with my confidence and just being able to say X, Y, Z, this is how I feel, this is what I'm gonna do, X, Y, Z, and just so on and so on. Yeah.
So did you man ever have a like, I'm a bit older, so it's like a G Unit phase. So like, you know,
100%.
No, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you don't listen to G Unit, do you?
No,
like,
no,
you
no.
probably had, I don't know, but like that phase where it's like, you don't know how to express yourself, so everything you channeled was like gangster. Like, do you get what I'm saying? It was like, I find that a lot of men go through that phase where like we try to find ourselves in other characters. Did you man ever, you know, like we had the G Unit vest, had the G Unit trainers, you know what I mean? Had all that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, man. Funny, maybe I was too young for this, but when I first came to this country, I was in year 4 because I lived in Ireland and Nigeria growing up.
You live in Ireland?
Yeah, odd. Odd. Not enough time to get into that.
Serious?
But yeah, I came in from Nigeria.
Can you do the Irish accent?
I can't, you know, a little bit.
Yeah.
I can read it on a script, but it's hard to like freestyle Irish. Come on.
Oh, is it? I don't know. I don't know any black people from Ireland, bro.
My cousins are
Oh, so
Irish.
they proper got
There's a
Nigerian
lot of
Irish
Nigerians
accent.
in Ireland.
There's a lot of Nigerians in Ireland, but it sounds
And they got the
almost
accent as
American.
well.
Yeah, it's like an American twang.
It sounds
innit?
American.
Yeah. Ireland
Sounds-
like.
There's Nigerians
You know,
everywhere, to
Dummy
be
from Love
honest.
Island.
Why would you assume that I was Love Island, bro? I know what you're talking about. I'm joking. Yeah, go on. Say.
So yeah, when I first come, I remember my closest friend, who's still my closest friend, he was quite naughty back in primary school, and he'd be like slamming doors. For whatever reasons he had to do. I remember in Nigeria it was different. We didn't do that. We were good. We had to be, you know, you had to behave. And I remember, as soon as he started doing that, I thought, right, maybe that's how I should do things. So when I started feeling anything, slamming doors, doing all of that, I used to literally imitate that behaviour up until I remember like, they thought I had anger issues.
Serious?
Yeah. And I was like, nah, I'm just like, everyone else is doing it, that's what I'm doing.
Vibes, innit?
So I think even from there, it's very common, I think, for people to see things and not understand an emotion, not understand something, and imitate the closest thing they see doing that. And I think I did do it older again, when maybe in my early teens, where like...
This is like college time,
Probably before college, like secondary, where like there's certain people in the area that I'm seeing that behave in a certain way. And I'm seeing them on road and I'm seeing them do the things they want to do, and I'm going, okay, because they're doing things like that and they're getting mad or like they're just like reacting, I need to do that as well. And yeah, it was a very, like, I remember being in a part of my life where I thought I wanted to do that, and I felt like that was how I needed to express myself, was through doing dumb stuff on the street, you know.
Let me ask you a question though, because one thing I've always found is, like you said, a lot of us kind of gravitated towards other people's behaviour in that context. But how much of it do you think was like a survival mechanism more so than it was just like, I want to be cool or I want to be, you know, because I think a lot of the things, like we go through as black men, it's like, I always say to my wife, it's like, inside my house, I'm safe, innit? But when I go outside of my house, in order to protect myself, sometimes I feel like I need to be that person, you know, which is closer to the character that Ajani is. So how do you balance that?
It's odd, because I really agree with you. I feel like it's a thing where even if you're not like that, just because someone else may be like that, or because you look like someone that could be like that, you might feel like you need to be like that. I feel like I definitely remember I'm growing up and I was quite big as well. I'm a big young black man growing through puberty. People see me and they already start doing all of this. I might as well just like commit to that. I might as well just, because it's like, you might as well just fit into that so that it's easier. Now people know you and they see you and they see one.
That's it, easy,
And I think then, also with it feeling a bit cool at that young age, it's easy to just fall into it and just to think that's you, you know?
100.
Just to add to that, a lot of the time it is like, it is trying to keep up with everything that's going on, but there is that, like, you walk into somewhere and you're already perceived as something in it, and it's just like, if you're gonna see me as that, I might as well be that. And that's what everyone's doing around me, so cool, calm, I'll just play along with it until eventually you get lost in it. And you're just like, you're kind of like, is this what I want to do? Is this what I want to wear? The man am all wearing this jacket, I might as well copy it. You get it. Until you get a bit older and you're just like, nah, I don't want to wear that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to listen to that. I'm going to find out who Chris is. I'm going to find out who Tobi is. And you kind of like grow in yourself and kind of exclude the noise around you and find you.
What was the maddest thing you ever did in that context? That you can say on camera. That's PG. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
That's not going to get everyone to cancel the play. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what, this actually is kind of related to the play. Because one of the monologues is not based off this event, but it was based off something around. I remember around the time of my life, it was around when this happened. But there's a part in the play where Ajani's talking about him nearly getting into a fight. And he's like, November, like, he's getting into a fight. What happened to me was, I remember back in secondary school, I remember there was this one time where something happened, long story. But then we basically had this big school fight.
So them ones are mad, innit?
So everyone in my year is now like, we're coming. Everyone from their year is like, but it wasn't even our year, it was the years above. There were sixth formers. And we was in year 11. And we was like, all right, cool. We're all gonna link up after school outside here. We're gonna fight.
That's lit. We're
gonna fight. And like I remember, it ended up being a really bad fight. Like chaotic. We got excluded for a very long time after that fight. Yeah.
What was your role in the fight? Man was acting frontline.
No, that's it still.
It scares me now to think about like how normal that was when we were younger. Because I got 2 kids and I got 2 boys in it, and I was thinking, like this is kind of like the stages they may have to navigate, you know, but to us it was so normal. Do you feel like with the characters you're playing, it's going to change it for the next generation? Like when they look at things like that, or like, is that the goal even? You
can only hope, to be fair. I can only hope that they see the character and they see themselves. If not themselves, they see their friend or their brethren, and they're like, I see what being yourself can bring. Like you being authentically you, there's no problem with that. You don't have to follow the direction everyone's going in it. There's a lot to learn with just being you and learning how to express. If you can't say it to your mum, find like a mentor or brother or friend where you can just tell them how you're feeling, and I think that really helps. So yeah, hopefully they can take something from it.
100%. I feel like there's an irony with the play that it's taken Ajani's literal explosion for him to start to think about these things and to think about expressing himself and actually being who he is. And I hope that people watching the show can watch and think, ooh, maybe I can start that today. Instead of waiting for something to happen. Instead of waiting for something mad to happen, to start wanting to just be who I am and starting to get things out. Maybe I can start that today, you know?
I mean, I like that concept in the play. I like that concept of this like finality. Like if you wait too long, it may be too late. Do you get what I'm saying? I like that concept behind it because now he's navigating, he's bartering for his life, and it's like these are things that he all could have done before he even got into the situation. So I like that dynamic of it. I remember watching a play called Misty. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen it? Yeah, called One Man Play. And one of the themes in that, it was like, you lot as actors as well, I was directed to you, Chris, it was the idea of what a black play needs to be like, or what a black actor needs to be like. How have you navigated that through your career? Like,
for me, it's been difficult. It's been difficult because there is. I remember. Who was it? I heard it from someone, innit? You need to. I don't just act for me, innit? I act for. It's bigger than me. I act for my family. I act for my community. I need to be able to do a role where I feel like I'm bringing the truth to it, and I can still go into my barbershop and say, "Hey, Chris, you're not getting lost in the sauce and everything what you're doing, innit?" And just trying to navigate it. Sometimes you can get lost and you feel like you need to tick every single box and you need to be this perfect person. No, it's not that. It's about me being me, unapologetically being me, innit? If I get something wrong, I get something wrong. If I do it right, I do it right. And if I fail, innit? And just kind of speaking to people ahead of you, that's really helped, man. So when you have someone you can call that's been doing it longer than you or was further down the line from you, and that's gone through like a similar experience, or like if a madness goes down in the industry, or like you feel like you've been targeted in any way, shape or form, they can kind of help you to navigate that, and you can kind of like figure it out.
What was that on you like? You're writing a play, which is quote unquote, let's be real, no matter what you say, it's going to be perceived as a black play, just because the lead is a black man, you know?
Yeah.
How do you navigate that?
I feel like end of the day, I think it's about what I'm trying to say. And even with the work I choose to do, like, it's always about purpose for me. Like, what is this story trying to say, really? And what's the purpose of the story? If I feel like the purpose of the story aligns with what I feel is meant for me, then I'm happy to do it. And I think even with writing, similarly, it's like, I'm only interested in things right now that I feel like would have momentum in terms of change and things that I want to happen. Or it's like explorative and it's just fun. Those are the two, those are my two sort of ideas. It has to be fun or purposeful. And I think, like, I remember feeling that, like, and even, we was talking even creatively about, is the experience Ajani goes through in Limbo, is it only limited to black men? And I remember it was a question that I thought, and I was like, rah, like, good question. I didn't really know the answer to it. And what we've decided is, for our version of where he is, yes, like, it is only for black men. There might be other places where other men go through, but I think for our one, it's black men. And I think it's because it has the most priority right now, to me. I feel like there's a priority to tell these stories for my community right now. And I am going to, regardless if it's seen as a black play or whatever play.
I hear that
but
still.
I think, like, the purpose overrides all the whatever people can say about it, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I mean, the title's a bit long, so forgive me if I kind of butcher it a bit, but for black boys who've considered suicide, you know what I mean? I mean, from what I know, that started out in one kind of like, where did it start? I'm not sure where.
New Diorama.
But now it's on the West End, you get what I'm saying? And I guess that's testament to the fact that even if you do tell what they perceive as black stories, they're universal stories, because on a universal level, we're all human and we relate to those feelings on some level. I think that often gets overlooked, you know, in that capacity. In terms of form, like, there's a lot of, like, I'm a spoken word, that's my thing. I write poetry, and I'm reading through the thing and I'm seeing the arts, you know, I'm like, like, what made you want to use, like, how does it feel, like, communicating through poetry and dance, and, like, music is a massive thing, like, even down to you lot picked specifically each song for each section, like.
Yeah, I think, again, I didn't grow up with a lot of people around me that expressed themselves like that were black. So, you know, growing up, you look out into the world and you look out at what's around you, and that's kind of where you kind of pick who you want to be. You go, I don't see any, like, you go, do I see a lot of black swimmers? If you don't, then you might feel like, I shouldn't even do the swimming thing, because I'm not seeing that around me. But now there is a lot more.
I've never seen a black swimmer, bro.
I've seen a couple still.
Where?
There's a couple.
There was like one Jamaica.
On the Olympics?
In the Olympics.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying.
What country?
I'm in Jamaica.
No way. Jamaica?
But then, like, what happens is that you see things, I feel like you see things, and then it's like, okay, cool, you kind of pick the version of yourself you want to be from what you think is possible. And I remember, like, so growing up, I listened to a lot of, like, George the Poet.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, he then made me feel like spoken word is possible for me. I went, he's writing, he's from Northwest.
Yeah,
I'm from West. What? I can write poetry too. And then it's that type of, and I think then I kind of felt like I wanted to sort of help younger generation feel the same, like seeing just poetry and unapologetic as well. Like, some of our poetry doesn't mix, like, in the play, he's making up words, like, he's just getting things out. It's more about the feeling than it is about what he's actually saying. And I think having examples of black men doing poetry and finding different ways to express themselves is just important.
100 or 110. How do you feel about that? Especially when it's like there's the dance emphasis and all that kind of stuff. Like, was that choreography? Do you have to go through all of that and stuff like that?
Right now we're still like the vibes and the dance and everything.
Okay.
But with me, with dancing, it's a funny story. I remember growing up, I was like the only one in my family who could, like, move. My sister might say something else.
It's Congolese as
I
well.
was going to say, you're disrespecting the Congolese.
No, outside of that thing.
Okay, I was going to say, the uncles and they get busy.
Outside of, like, the general waist movements, I used to, like, where am I going with this story? I used to go to parties expecting to make money because I would dance.
Oh, when they spray you?
Yeah. So I would, like, or, like, my parents would be like, hey, if you want to make money, if you want £5, go and dance and go make us proud, innit? So it'd be a lot of that in it. So that was, like, kind of my, like, bones into, like, structure into dancing, innit? So with, like, the choreography, that's been going around, it's been nice, and having Tobi just to show me around, and it's been, like, easy to pick up, and just adding to it and thinking and seeing how my Ajani takes to the dance. With the poetry as well, similar to what you said as well, is more, is the feeling, innit? And similar to what Tobi said, I didn't see black poets growing up as well. I didn't even know the man that did poetry. So you get it? Like in school, like it was just always the same old poets we would see. Couldn't even name one, but when you start to grow up and you start to see things and you see people that look like you doing it, it's like, oh, rah, it's achievable. Sometimes all it takes is someone elder or someone around your age to do it. And you think like, yeah, I can do it.
It's real though, because even with the theatre, like I can imagine you lot, like how many of your peoples are gonna come and watch? I don't know, it's changed now, but back in the days, like I remember growing up and you say to a man, like even till this day, I don't really go theatre unless it's like Back to the Future or like Lion King, you know, the bait ones, you know?
I would say that's definitely tough right now. So growing up, so the way I started in theatre was with like intermission, and they do Shakespeare renditions, so there'll be like modern day Shakespeare plays. So when and I still have this problem now, when I'm inviting them and I'm saying, yo, come to this play, I'm doing a theatre play, like, man, don't go to the theatre, G. And it's been that constant battle.
Is there going to be girls there?
I've literally heard all of that. And it's been that constant battle of, bro, just come support and see that is not what you think it is. I'm not just going around like one fish, innit? Like, bro, man knows what I'm doing, innit? So it's hard, it's very hard to try and convince your community to come. But as I'm growing and as it's getting bigger and as the stages are changing and as I'm developing, it's a challenge that I haven't quite conquered yet. And I don't know if it's the same for you, but I have a lot of friends who would rather go to like, I don't know, a music video than come sitting here for an hour or two and see me do what I do.
Stand in the back doing ad-libs.
Yeah, you get it, but until they see it on the TV or me on the TV or see like, I don't know, Stormzy come to a show, then they'll be like, oh, raw, Chris, let me get that link though. I was like,
but you know what I'll say? And obviously you're here, innit? God put you here for a reason. But then I would say after the first time I done this show, I remember that was when, because the show is, one of the taglines is, it's for the mandem. The show is for the mandem, it's for our community. So I remember I made sure, I was like, listen, bro, you have to. If you love me, come and see the show. It's just me on stage. That's what I'm saying. It's just me.
It's literally just me. Like.
And like when they come true, and the conversations I had with some of these guys who haven't seen any theatre or like haven't seen anything like that, the conversations, bro, touching. Like people going like, yeah, bro, when I was young, I felt like this. And it's like, then I realised it's so important. Like we need to actually get them into the theatre. And it's like, again, it's hard because even then, like, man will come, they think it starts at 7:30, they're at 8 o'clock.
I done a show recently. It was a 25-minute performance of a play that I'm writing about how my parents got to the country. It's called First Traveller. And the performance time was 8. I told everyone to get there for 7:30. There was still people calling me at 8:10. Yo. We had to hold the whole venue back. I'm like, yo, I'm like the people at the door. Brother, please, my brethren is just down the road. I can see him now. Man's coming running with the chicken. I'm like, bro, priorities, bro, priorities. And you get it. But it's a learning curve, innit? And you just have to sometimes involve like black people timing, innit?
Now the timing will finish, man, when it comes to the theatre, I'm not gonna lie.
Theatre don't wait for you,
man. Because everyone expects you to just stroll in, like it's not gonna start.
I think it's a part.
It's not a part. What do you think it's gonna take to get like people, because I think, like you said, there's no difference from experiencing theatre than there is from going to watch a live performer, you know what I mean? What do you think is gonna get that thing to turn in people's heads to be like, these stories are actually just as interesting as the ones you're seeing anywhere else?
I mean, so to go off on this, I think theatres need to be way more inclusive with what they're programming, with how the space feels, how theatre members are welcome into the theatre. I think once we start a culture of, once people come and see shows like the shows we make and understand that it's not just a Shakespeare thing, it's not Romeo and Juliet, it's actually real work that speaks to you, speaks for you. I feel like then it's a no-brainer. Then it's gonna be like when, like all my friends who I've grown up with now go to the theatre. I remember like my guy was like, I'm going to see like, it was some West End play.
They be pricey though.
And I was like, you know, it's expensive, bro. I was like, you're going to see that one? He's like, yeah, with my missus. I was like,
makes sense.
Yeah. And I was like, but then he would never gone to the theatre back then if he wouldn't know me like that.
Yeah.
So I think once you get the introduction and then they see actually it's not just what the West End normally has on. When you see like theatre can be real and gritty, then I think a lot more people will be interested.
Nah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I took my wife to watch Prince of Egypt, I remember, and like obviously that's a big production, but she just snapped it. Like she's like, oh, like we just finished watching it, blah, blah. For the next few months, every one of her friends would be like, oh, we went to go watch it, just because they saw a clip of it and they were like, oh, this is actually like not what I expected in that way. So do you think they should allow the phones in the theatre then?
100%, man.
They should.
At the end. It depends, innit? Because I understand when people, for not regular theatre goers, there's that, oh, mad. There's that reaction in it. It's like, and for me, I love those type of reactions where I can hear the audience doing, oh, I can't believe he done that. For me, it kind of adds to it, innit? Because it kind of reminds me of like school and home, because like so much noise, innit? So I'm used to that. But I think similar to what Tobi was saying is making it more inclusive, like, having shows like this, having shows like For Black Boys, having shows like Queen of Sheba, all these shows that help you see yourself on stage, and I'm not going to a random show that has nothing to do with me, doesn't resonate with me at all. But if I can see me on stage and I don't enjoy it, and I'm not used to the theatre, and I see myself and I'm like, raw, maybe I might come back here. Maybe I'm not just supporting my boy, maybe I have fallen in love with just seeing someone struggle that's similar to me. I think if they push that in many spaces, I think it'll be much more people will come to the theatre.
No, I hear that. Even me, like a grown man, I'm watching Super Soul, like you were saying the other day, innit? And I'm seeing them doing the powers, all that stuff. Bro, I started going through my email from one acting agent that emailed me like 5 years ago. Try hit them up.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Even off the back of Super Soul, like growing up, what TV shows were there in ends for me? I would say Youngers, or even like 4 O'Clock Club, but prior to that, you didn't really see yourself on stage or on screen. The only way I could look for was in America. I'm watching Everybody Hates Chris, Fresh Prince. That's how I would see it, but now it's changed. So now there's little kids aspiring to be like, oh, I want to be the next, they might want to be the next rap man, the writer or the director, even just the producer or the actor. And there's just so much. We're getting there. I wouldn't say we're there, but we're taking the right steps. A lot of more things have become accessible. So it's becoming more easier to kind of say, I can see him doing that, I want to do it.
Yeah, real spit, man. And it's like, you know, like they're filming like, you know, like they're in like Lewisham, you know, they're like Pecker and Bagel King even got like a show. I was like, you lot are like really doing the thing. I guess before we wrap up, I guess I want to talk about like, you know, like communication, you know what I mean? Because I don't know if you lot ever been to therapy, like but I've been to therapy and I went to therapy like very like, what's the word? Dismissive, like what's this gonna do, you know what I mean? And the first session was just like normal, third session, fourth session, whatever. But what's funny is I took a break in between the therapy and I tangibly noticed the difference between not having time to communicate with someone on a regular basis and having that space in it, you know? What do you think happens when you talk about like what I can't explain the science, but what do you think actually happens when you talk about it, the things that you're going through in that way?
In talking about things that are kind of like hard topics, I don't know, it feels like a weight off your shoulders. If sometimes, because a lot of the times you have all these internal thoughts, and if sometimes you have someone just to call and express, or like for me, I have like a specific friend I chat to about certain things, like, and he just listens, innit? And I would say for me, that's like therapy for me, innit? He'll be like, bro, I hear it. And sometimes that's all I need to hear, innit? I hear it, pray about it, let's go out, X, Y, Z. And stuff like that helps for me. But when you're able to articulate how you feel, or just saying, hey bro, today's been a long, man. And for me, that kind of like just takes a weight off my shoulders, and kind of like, it helps me get on and say, yo, it's gonna be okay, innit? So I can move on.
I agree, man. I feel like the brain and the mind holds on to so much. Like we think so much things, man. And I think the things that actually leave our mouth is not all the things we're thinking. But in the power of actually just starting to get all of those things out. Think about it, the thoughts are there. Once they come here, you're free of them, you're void. I think sometimes, like, it's interesting how just talking, simply just talking, can just make you feel better. I think there's something that happens that it's a release, like it literally comes out of your mouth And then even as it leaves you, you can then now start thinking about it.
Yeah.
If you're thinking, I'm not even sure how I'm feeling, maybe I'm feeling upset. Then you go, actually, if I said that, I probably might be upset. Why am I upset? And I feel like just being able to get things out and then maybe even able to articulate yourself and to articulate your emotions, I think that is gold. Imagine being able to know how you feel all the time, how you can then navigate certain situations, how you can then talk to people, how you can then, like, you know. I think communication is really important, and I think it's slept on about how powerful it is to talk about and to express how you feel.
Yeah. To add on, I think what you're saying is we're very afraid of being judged about how we feel, you know.
Yeah.
But I definitely recommend you lot do like 1 or 2 therapy sessions. Not because I think you're mad or anything, but I feel like, no, I think it will be an interesting experience just because it's really, what you've done very successfully is articulate that same experience through metaphor, you know, communicating that, you know, because I think one of the things about the therapist, much like the messenger in your story, they're objective, you know, they're not going to be like, oh, but, you know, it's your mum, she did this for you, she did that. They're going to be like, okay, this is the situation, point blank. Now, what is your responsibility in the situation and what can you control and how are you going to deal with that, you know? And I think just having that experience would be cool because you've pretty much like wrote an hour of therapy, you know, in a more artistic way, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, but guys, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to watching it, you know what I mean? I've read it, I look forward to watching it.
You come to both shows?
Huh?
You come to both shows?
Oh yeah, there's a competition now.
You started it, bro. You started it. You said who's better.
Yeah.
Come and see.
Nah, I definitely will. I'll come one, and I'll definitely. They've got to plug me free tickets anyway. When they plug me tickets, I'll come. You know what? I will. I'll come one with my wife, and I'll come one with one of them and them as well. Yeah. But nah, I wish you the best. Like for me, like this is just the start of many more things that are gonna happen, not just for you, but in theatre and the conversations we have in it. So. Love you guys, man.
I love, man.
Appreciate
that.
All right.
Oh, is that? Oh, yeah.
Love.